They say behind every successful man, there is a woman. One of the best examples is Ida. How many Kenyans can sustain a story, a discussion about her lasting more than 5 minutes? Very few people. We know her. You look at any picture, you can identify her from the crowd. But sincerely, is there a way you can talk for 5 minutes non-stop and you still don't repeat anything about her? Very few Kenyans can do that. But she's one of the most influential and important people in Kenya's history. Her late mother was the first native Kenyan lady to open a bank account by Barclays Bank. Barclays Bank today is called Absa Bank. How many Kenyans knew that Ida's mother was the first African Kenyan, Mwafrika, native, to open any bank account? And an African lady. Her mother, who was working as a nurse, is the first known, and you see those things are in this something that you cannot dispute, because those days things would have happened. For example, how many ladies are opening bank accounts today? So if there are very many, but those days one person would do something, spend ages so that the second one can do the same thing. So that is why I'm saying that. She's definitely undisputed first lady to open a bank account with Barclays Bank, which today is called Absa. That one I've emphasized. Her mother was an aunt to Francis Atwoli of Kotu. And Atwoli's father was Ida's uncle. That is why you may have heard Ida, you may have heard Atwoli saying that Raila is his brother-in-law. It means that Raila has married Atwoli's first cousin. What I'm trying to say is that Ida is half Luhya, half Luo. Her paternal relatives are Luo, her maternal relatives are Luhya, from the Kisa subtribe. Now, from Hingia girls, you see some of these important people, we cut the history of earlier life because of the video would be very long. From Hingia girls, she went to University of Nairobi. At the university, she dated a staff member of the university, and they used to go for their picnics at Nairobi Dam. They used to go for picnics at Nairobi Dam before they got married. She was employed by the TSC and taught at Kenya High School. That explains a lot. Even today, being a teacher at Kenya High School speaks a lot. She was first transferred to a desk job at Jogoo House and later sacked just because she was Mrs. Raila. We have met there are very many prominent ladies in Kenya society in various places, and a good number of them were taught by Ida at Kenya High School. But because of her husband's activity, she was removed. First of all, she was removed from Kenya High and taken to Jogoo House on the desk job. Now, I want to tell you something, where especially those of you who have not worked in the civil service. I was a desk officer, so I know what happens. In the ministry, in the civil service, we have two types of civil servants. We have some people who are very good on the desk and others who are good on hands-on. Those who are good on desk, these are people who handle reports, who draft and type and whatever. Okay, typing was done by secretaries, but these are the people who do the recording and whatever they do. If you are a police officer, they call them staffing officer. Even the military, they call them staffing officer. These are people who are the police headquarters or army headquarters, whose work is they do filings. They prepare files. The next team to go for promotion course, they are needed, whatever. Then liaison, that is paperwork. Yeah, I wanted to use the word paperwork. So desk officer is a paperwork person. I was very good in desk office, but I was very poor in hand-to-hand experience. These are where the rubber meets the tarmac. Do they say that? Yeah, that is those are the hands-on people. She by nature was a hands-on person, but she was taken to the desk. You may find that a person like me, as I've kept on saying, I was very poor on hands-on handling of things, but very good in desk. And we had some people who are very good in field work, like Ida, but they were also good in desk, but they were better in field work. But Ida was removed to frustrate her, especially having in mind that she would have what the system then called negative influence on the future girls. So she was taken to Jogo House to be on the desk. And then she was even inquiring. There is this thing that people hear about habeas corpus. And just like, people are people. At the end of the day, and this is what people have been saying, that during the day when, okay, let us talk of today. I wanted to say that during Queen Elizabeth's days, Charles used to see her as his mother, as much as everybody else saw her as the queen of. And today, you look at Nick. Nick sees Ruto as a father, but his age mates see Ruto as a president. So any action she was doing as Mrs. Raila. But then she was being harassed. She was removed from class, taken to desk, although her talent was in teaching. And then from desk again, she was sacked. Hmm? She was sacked. Those days, being associated with Odinga family were rough. And bringing up children, especially when you are jobless. You see, she was sacked. Raila was the MD of Kenya Bureau of Standards, and she was teaching at Kenya High. And then suddenly you find that Raila is in detention without trial, and here she is jobless with kids to bring up. We all know her kids. We know the late Fidel. We know Raila Jr. We know we know all the kids, but she was bringing them up single-handedly, unemployed, and also uh, anybody, anybody who even greeted her or even visited her would have it a problem. So you can understand how she went through hard life. The other thing I wanted to talk about is that everything has a silver lining. There is a clandestine thing that was made that she could visit him in committee. Uh, and we can say that were it not for her and those arrangements, Kenneth Matiba would have died in detention. In one of her visits, she visited Raila in committee, and Raila told her to go and look for Edith Matiba, the wife to Kenneth Matiba, and tell her that Matiba is dying in prison. So that is how Edith Matiba went, and it became public. And Matiba was removed. Matiba was removed from Kamiti, a clinic, and was taken to Nairobi Hospital. And when he was taken to Nairobi Hospital, he was taken there under a nickname, because anybody coming from through the records, it would have been disclosed that he is there. So Matiba owes his life to her. She participated, she organized with Raila, for Raila to tell her that Matiba is seriously ill, and then she's the one who told Edith Matiba. And as I say, or as they say the rest is history. After multipartyism, the ups and downs of Raila was observed in most cases by her, and by extension, the Raila family. You have seen whatever happens, ABCD, the good and the bad and whatever. There was always one person behind Raila. Many people were behind Raila. I was not one of them, but many people were behind Raila, and the one who was on the forefront was Ida. Many of those moves by Raila had her as the major player. She used to play a big role in whatever Raila did. For example, she was shocked to watch another time for Raila. She was shocked to watch another time that Raila was going to jail, especially now that the age was catching up. When Raila took an oath, of course, many people would say, what about the laws and whatever, and Kenya the way it is? Now, what happens? Let me give you a good example. Today, we have this case that has been declared that Kenya Kwanza is not the leading, Azimio was the leading, and Wetangula has appealed against the case. Now, the case will go up and down, and the decision will be made in May 2027, which is 3 months to election. So in Kenya, a case can be stretched as far as you want to imagine. And so she knew that if President Uhuru, the then president, would have arrested Raila, Uhuru would have placed Raila in perpetual remand, and she was concerned about his age, the age that he was becoming. She felt that at his age, it is not good. So she is the one who felt more major points. It was her and Mama Ngina who initiated the handshake. So you can see uh, her and Mama Ngina are the ones who initiated the handshake. This is because when the two, that is Raila and Uhuru met, Uhuru has gone public by saying that they spent a lot of time and taking tea, saying, hey, habari yako mzuri, nyumbani ni kuzima, siku maisha inaendelea. They were unable to start a topic because the two gracious ladies, Mama Ngina and Madam Ida, had already prepared everything, and then these people did not know how to break the ice. In case you are wondering why, I'm calling Mama Ngina and calling Ida Madam, I would say this. I am the same. I am 3 weeks older than Obama and 3 months older than Uhuru. So Mama Ngina to me is a mother. Madam Ida, when I was doing my A level, she was also teaching A level in Kenya High. If I were to be a lady and maybe went to Kenya High, she would have taught me directly. So that is why I'm calling. But age-wise, she's like, to me, she's like an elder sister to me. That is why I'm saying that. They say that God answers you in various ways. I know of 3 ways. I know not 3. I know of 4 ways that God answers you. The first, if you pray for something, God can say no. God can say no. He can deny you what you want. There are some things that God can deny you. I can give you an example of a very close friend of mine who I know of a very close friend of mine who one time he told me that he had done everything that he wanted in life. He has educated all the kids up to he has educated all the kids up to Form 4, and they were working. So he felt that he should now uh, get a car. And then he bought a car, and when he was test driving it, there was no brake. So he had an accident and died. So there are times when God says no, and that is what I said. There are 4 ways God says no. Uh, you can ask for something from God, and God tells you no. God told him not to buy a vehicle, because if he would have bought a vehicle earlier, when the kids were still looking for education, maybe they would not be educated. He would have died before. So God said no vehicle. The second answer, their first answer is God tells you no. The second one is God tells you yes. Yeah, you can ask for God something, and God gives you exactly what you want. God can give you something else from what you want. No, I said first one, God can say no. And then the second one, he can say yes. You can ask for a vehicle, he gives you a vehicle, and you become a very successful taxi driver or something like that. So there is a second one is yes. The third one is not yet. The third one is not yet. And I think the example that I gave about the vehicle is a good example. He always wanted to have a vehicle, but God said no, not yet. God wanted him to have a vehicle when his kids had all completed school, and they were when his kids had completed school and they were self-reliant. So God can delay giving you. And I can repeat again, say the first one, God can be. If you ask for God something and he says no, understand, maybe God knows why he's doing so. Because if that gentleman would not have bought a vehicle, maybe he would still be alive today. So sometimes when God says no, you understand. And when he says yes, he also, you understand. There is even the third option is he can say not yet. He cannot say it not yet. Like what I've said, he wanted a vehicle, but God said not yet. Wait until kids complete school. And the last one, the fourth one, is another opportunity. You may want to a certain profession or a certain thing, but God may feel that that was not meant for you. It was another thing was meant for you. You may find that maybe you want to join the disciplined forces, and every time you want to apply, things don't happen that way. And then you end up as a teacher. And when you end up as a teacher, you become a very good teacher. So sometimes God tells you that what you want uh, is not what I'm giving you, but I've seen that you are better in this other thing, and gives it to you. And that is why I would say most likely God felt that Raila should not be the president of Kenya, but he should be the prime minister of Africa. And that is why he's going through the whatever. And all these things, as I've said, in any circumstances, they say that every successful man, there is a woman behind that. But then, when it comes to Ida, she has given more than what an ordinary woman would have given. Lastly, but not least, there was a certain day which was an International Women's Day, of which in that year, Ida decided to give a speech in Kimaragoli. My God, my God. That lady can speak fluent Kimaragoli. The Kimaragoli Ida sent a message was so fluent that I was looking at her, trying to think that AI may have been used to place there. She's very fluent, maybe even fluent than Kijaluo. Thank you.